Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of a podcast that I would like to call Commutes Were a Mistake. My name is Michael Benson. I am going to be your host. And the purpose of this podcast is to pass the time on my commute and talk into a microphone for a number of minutes to what will likely be a very small number of listeners. So let's just get right into it. Most of what I want this cast to be about is video games. I play them. You probably do too. Most of the world does anymore. But I'll talk about everything and anything, current events, things like that. But mostly video game centric. So lately I've been playing a fair bit of Rise of the Tomb Raider. And that is a game that came out, I believe, early last year. Maybe 2016, maybe late 2016. That I really enjoyed. I thought Rise of the Tomb Raider it's really interesting. It has a lot of interesting ideas, and it puts a game that I also played very recently into context, that being Horizon Zero Dawn. A lot of similarities between Rise of the Tomb Raider and Horizon. They play very similarly from a combat perspective, although obviously in Rise you're not fighting like giant dinosaurs, so that piece of the combat is very different. I would say that when you're storming camps in Horizon, it feels almost exactly like Tomb Raider. It's bow and arrow. You're kind of sneaking around, trying to headshot dudes, wondering why the guy that you just shot, his buddy doesn't see that you just, shot him in the face with an arrow, and reacting. And it's been good so far. I'm not super far into it. I'm maybe 3 or 4 hours. I streamed it for about 3 or 4 hours the other day, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good, interesting time. It has a lot of collectibles and some sort of like challenge tomb type stuff. So there's a lot of sort of, if you play the original Tomb Raider, there's a lot of that, like a lot of jumping, climbing ledges, trying to sort of traverse these weird environments to get to a treasure. Also, there's a strong collectathon sort of aspect to it as well, where you're sort of looking around, finding these artifacts. And one funny thing is, like, you come across pieces of literature in different languages, and those teach you the language. Like, that's a real way to learn a language, right? But you learn Russian or Greek or Mongolian by reading different pieces of literature. And that allows you to sort of decipher these monoliths. And those monoliths then unlock, they're sort of like treasure maps in other games where they sort of unlock where the collectibles are on the map. So again, it's easy to see like how they sort of, all of these games sort of steal from each other, because Assassin's Creed Origin also steals a number of things from this game. But it's good. I enjoy it. I'm kind of trying to play it because the Tomb Raider movie's coming out, and I saw the movie and I was like, you know what? I never played through Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I'm playing it now, and I'm having a good time with it so far. I don't know if that's going to continue. But the opening and subsequent levels of that game are beautiful. It is very pretty to look at. I would say that it actually looks better than Assassin's Creed Origins, a game that was released almost a full year later. It is very pretty to look at, which is kind of the way the first Tomb Raider game was, by Crystal Dynamics. I really enjoyed that one as well. Very pretty. I mean, it is gorgeous. It doesn't have HDR support on the PC, which is really odd, considering that it had it on Xbox. I guess they just didn't they created a version, but they never patched it in, which is really weird. I mean, I'm playing the Steam release, so maybe the Windows Store one has HDR. I guess I'm part of the very massive minority of people that have an HDR PC monitor. And I didn't buy it because it was HDR. It just happened to be it was like an Amazon price error. So I got basically a $600 monitor for half price that they corrected almost immediately. So I paid $300 for $600 monitor, and it just happened to have HDR, so I'll take it. But it was kind of odd that it didn't. I've only played like 3 games on PC that actually had HDR support. I think Assassin's Creed Origins was another one. But it kind of bummed me out because, man, that game is gorgeous, and the idea of having HDR as well would have been fantastic. But it's, so far I would recommend, if you haven't played it, it's probably cheap now. You can probably get it for nothing. I know that it was a pack-in for NVIDIA, like graphics cards for a while, so you can probably obtain it through some sort of gray market for next to nothing. I also feel like it's been on Humble once or twice, so I think, I could be wrong there, but I feel like it was. So jump in, go play Rise of the Tomb Raider if you haven't, and you will see like how very, very similar Horizon is to that game. And obviously Horizon expands on it in some very interesting ways. I would say that Horizon is a better game, but you definitely see the markings and sort of the influence. And I'm kind of pumped for another one. I'm excited to play it again. Because I believe the rumor is that the third Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider will be out this year. So I'm down. What else have I been playing? So, I recently started playing Hunt Showdown, which is a game that was in closed alpha up through last week, I believe. And now is in like early access on Steam. It's $30. It is a Crytek Engine game. I don't know the name of the studio that's making it. I apologize for that. But it is like a very different game than Tomb Raider. It is a sort of, I believe it is designed to be a 2-person team sort of competitive thing. It has, you're basically recruiting hunters and gearing them up their like sort of old-timey weapons. The guns are bad. They're like these single-shot rifles or sort of short-range hand cannon shotguns or revolvers. But it has a really interesting sort of feel to it. It's kind of like, what it reminds me of is True Detective Season 1, if anyone played that. It's got that sort of like Bayou-esque, because you're the maps, like, there's only one map currently, but you can play it in the night or in the daytime. And it's sort of that, but it's very supernaturally. So you're kind of crawling around in the swamps and like these really creepy like swamp areas, and then you'll enter into these buildings that are sort of like farms, and they have hooks hanging from the ceiling. You just sort of walk around and they clink clank, very spooky. And there's sort of zombies and monsters all over the map that will kill you very quickly if you do not pay attention to them. And the premise of it is so you're loading in and you sort of have a currency. And it's one of those games where there's like your character level and then your account level. And they've done that via, they call it the bloodline. So I assume it's like you're a family of hunters or whatever. I don't know. But your bloodline level is persistent, but the hunters, when they die, they're dead. And they have a leveling system, and they gain perks. You can unlock perks as those hunters level up. And then the account-based stuff is equipment that you can buy to, with the in-game currency to equip your hunter. It's interesting. It's designed to be a 2v2v2. I think it's 10 people on a map. So you load in with a buddy and you sort of go around collecting quests and shooting monsters and sort of exploring the map, and then you're eventually trying to find a boss monster before the other players find the boss monster and kill it. And once you kill it, you do this sort of banishing process, which means, you sort of walk up to the body and click a button, and it starts a timer ticking down. And that banishing process alerts other players that it's happening, so they can come and kill you and sort of steal your bounty that you collect off the boss once the bounty, the banishing finishes. It's interesting. It's got a sort of very competitive feel to it. The combat's very deliberate. It's very slow, almost like a Dark. I hate comparing everything to Dark Souls, but it's very slow the way you move around. Like, it is not something like Wolf. Like, I'm trying to compare it to recent shooters. It's not like a Doom or a Wolfenstein. The combat is very, very, like, the guns are real clunky. You move very slowly. The monsters move kind of slow for the most part. But they hit extremely hard. And, they'll kill you almost instantly if they walk up to you and get some shots off. And it's very punishing as far as health is concerned. You have sort of bars that you can permanently lose. It's interesting. So there's also a risk reward to it, where you can kind of walk around, kill monsters, and so you can gain experience. And because there's permadeath, sometimes maybe you take some damage that you didn't think you were going to take, and you don't think you can actually kill the boss or survive to extract the bounty. So you could theoretically, if you're low on health and you can't find any, you could just leave the map. And so sort of farm experience that way to level your hunter, to get better traits, to, sort of participate. Because the PvP is extremely quick and fast. You'll like bump into other players, and, although the guns are not easy to hit with, when you do hit someone with them, they are dead. It is very, you're taking one or two shots. And you don't have a lot of health items, I would say, at least at my point in the game. And again, because it's permadeath, you kind of want to avoid combat with other players. So I could see scenarios where you're just like, oh, I'm almost dead, I'll just leave. Especially in a duo sort of perspective, where it's like, oh, I'm full health, but my friend is almost dead. Let's just get out of here and try again. Which is interesting. There's sort of a, do we press on? Do we stop? And that's very Dark Soulsy in a way, where it's like, do I keep going for the next bonfire, or do I retreat, go back, heal up my flasks, respawn everything, but now I have a better, maybe the next run will go better. I played a fair bit of it. Not a lot of it with players. You can also play it solo. I played a bit of it solo in alpha, and then once it's been live or in early access, I've played with friends. And to be honest, I haven't done very well. I've died a lot. But I'm getting better at it. I extracted the first bounty with a friend of mine the other day. He died as we left the sort of farm that so we killed the boss inside this farmhouse. He was low afterwards. We got the bounty, went through the whole banishing process, which is long. It feels like it takes like 2 or 3 minutes. I could be wrong, but and then so we get the bounty and we're leaving, and we walk outside, and literally a zombie's like right there, and it just one-shots him and kills him. And he was so low that I couldn't bring him back from the dead. So that sucked. But I got away. So in a very tense situation where I run to the exit, I have like 1 bar of health left. There is a monster that I do not have enough ammo to kill, and it is chasing me around. The exit is like a stagecoach, so you can get an idea of what the time frame that we're talking about is here. So there's like a stagecoach, and you walk up, but it extracts you, and it takes, I believe it's 20 seconds, and it ticks down. And I'm running around the stagecoach, sort of kiting this monster, staying in range though, so the timer will tick down until it extracts me. And I managed to live and get out of there. But it was very, very intense, and has a lot of potential. I mean, it's very rough. I'm playing on a 1080, and I'm playing on a 1080. I have a 1440p monitor. I'm playing it at 1920 by 1080 with a lot of the settings turned down, and I'm still only getting like 35 to 40 FPS in it. So it's definitely got some optimization issues. But if you can kind of overlook that stuff, there's a core loop there that I think is very strong. It's very good at making tension and building that up. So yeah, it's Hunt Showdown. It's really interesting. I suggest it's $30 on Steam right now. Maybe watch some streams of it, see if it's the kind of game for you. I could see if you're not okay with that sort of deliberate pace or the permadeath, not enjoying it. But I enjoy it. I like it a lot. I've also kind of come back. So that's Hunt Showdown. That's really all there is to say about that. I'm interested to see how that develops. We'll see. I've started to come back around on PUBG. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, for those who have maybe been living under a rock for the last year and didn't participate in that insanity, but which is the sort of battle arena shooter, battle royale shooter, not battle arena, where 100 people drop onto an island out of a plane and they have nothing, and they and are generally naked for the most part, or wearing sweet purple tuxedos. Playing a fair bit of that again recently. I'd kind of cooled on it as it neared launch, because I felt like they were, the patching was not as fast as I would like. They also introduced a new map that I'm not super fond of. It's okay, but the rotation of that map was very frequent, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as the original map. But I've come back around and been playing it a bit, having some success. I also, I think, I don't know if I'm in the minority with this or not, but I am one of the people that does not like PUBG in first person. And I know that every hardcore PUBG player is going to be like, you're an idiot, first person is the best. You can look around corners in third person and da-da-da-da-da. I get it, but I played 500 hours of PUBG, and almost 450 of those hours were in third person. And that's what I've been used to. And I like the third person mode. Something about it, maybe it's because I'm not good, or I feel like I have more vision over the game. I can see people easier. I feel like in first person, a lot of times I just get shot and I have no idea what's going on, and I just, spaghetti all over the keyboard and die. And that's fine. I get that there is skill to that, and to that not happening. But that skill is lost on me. I don't have it. So third person works better for me, and I have a lot more fun playing it. I also do a lot better playing it in first person or in third person. I also feel like once you've played a lot of third person, going to first person kind of sucks, because a lot of the game was not, you can tell it is not designed for first person. Maybe now they're making some more design decisions, but the driving is awful in first person. It's just bad. It's just not good, and I know people will be like, it's more realistic. Yeah, okay, maybe it is, but it is impossible to drive those cars in first person. It sucks. And whereas driving them in third person is a blast. It's a lot of fun. And I also feel like first person is not as approachable for a lot of people. You can't just get your buddies together as easily to play first person, because it's hard to have fun playing it first person if you are not good at it. And I feel like if you're playing it third person, if I want to say this to a lot of people who maybe came to PUBG late and didn't get into it. If you're not having fun playing it first person, play it in third and see what you think. Because I think it is infinitely more fun in third person. And I know that there's some concerns, especially as you get higher ratings around the cheating at that level. Apparently third person is worse for cheaters, the higher you go. I am not having problems with cheaters. I've been consistently making it to I've been playing in duo, but we have consistently made top 10s, top 5s. So, I was second twice. Again, probably should have been first if I was better. So I've not had a problem with the cheaters, or maybe it's the times that I'm playing. I don't know. I'm playing mostly on the weekends, so I don't know. But I'm not having problems with cheaters in it, or maybe I am, and I'm just not knowing it. But I'm coming back around on PUBG now that I've just accepted that yes, the world plays this in first person, but that's not the way I play it. I play it in third person, and you know what? People are still playing in third person, so I have fun playing it that way. So it's good. I enjoy it. I'm still having. I played 500 hours of it. Obviously, I enjoy it. That game is a blast. It's fantastic. But I hope that a lot of people don't bounce off that game trying to play it in first person and be like, "Oh, this game. I don't get why people like it." And there is an experience to be had there that is unlike anything else out right now. Although Fortnite is very similar. So I would recommend that a lot of people play that. But again, that thing is third person. So try them both. I like PUBG a lot. Something about Fortnite just doesn't work for me. Maybe it's the way the loot is, the way it kind of explodes all over the ground. It's color coded. And I don't know, something, and also the way the guns feel in that game aren't right. It doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just because I played tons and tons of PUBG, but Fortnite doesn't feel correct. Also, the building is not for me. The idea of building stairs from nothing, and I get that there's some tactical depth there, but I don't know. The few games that I played of Fortnite, I did not enjoy, so it didn't hook me immediately like PUBG did. So I've been having some fun with PUBG, and then I'm still bashing my head into the League of Legends wall, which is that's the masochist in me. I just like getting yelled at for being bad at a video game. I don't know. Just something that I can't get away from. I just love it so much. I don't know. I just love it. I have to get screamed at in chat by 12-year-olds. That's what I do. League is good. I will say that lately I've been playing less of it as other games have and I honestly feel like League is sort of in my rotation because it is waiting to be replaced by something else. I think PUBG replaced it for a long time, most of last year I would say, but then when PUBG started to wane, I went right back to League. But that game is what it is, and if you're not into League of Legends, you're probably not ever going to be. And it's not a game, to be honest, I would suggest that a newer player pick up, unless you have a ton of patience, or you have a massive friend group that's all they play, and they play tons of it, and you're just I want to play with my buddies. That is a reasonable, reason to get into it. But if you are a just solo player and you're wanting to play a team game, I don't think that League of Legends is the one, because the learning curve is very steep and very similar to Dota, and that if you're not into it now, good luck. And I've heard that they've leveled the learning curve out. I don't believe that that's true. It is still a game that requires you to sink hundreds of hours into to get good at and play. And I'm still not good at it, but I feel like I'm good enough to where I can have fun with it. So like, yeah, try it out. I mean, if you play League, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't play League, don't start. Play something else. Play something that's a little bit easier to get into. I'm really hoping that something new comes out and sort of steals my attention away from League. I'm kind of ready. PUBG is good, but I'm 5 hours deep into that thing. I could probably use something else. I need another new thing to kind of hook me. I almost feel like maybe the new thing needs to be something like an MMO, like a Destiny, or maybe it'll be Anthem. Maybe Anthem will come out and I'll be all about it, although who knows when that thing is going to come out. And God, it'll probably be rife with horrific microtransactions or something terrible like that. But I need a grindy game. I need something to sort of sink my teeth into. And a lot of people have recommended Warframe to me, and I played a bit of Warframe and I didn't really enjoy it. So yeah, well, I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at. I am anxiously awaiting a couple of games. One that is coming out tomorrow, I believe, is the new game from the FTL guys, which I am shockingly forgetting the name of. Into the Breach, I believe, is what it's called, maybe. And it's like a tactical shooter. I hope I'm not getting that confused with another game. But it's like a tactical shooter. Or not a tactical shooter, it's a tactical, like, isometric sort of thing, like tiles, sort of a Final Fantasy Tactics-y, like Advance Wars kind of thing. Really looking forward to that thing. I played hundreds of hours of FTL. I love that game. And those guys know how to make a video game, so I am down for whatever they make. I'm not a big, like, sort of tactical person. I played XCOM, and I liked XCOM, but I like the roguelite nature of that thing. I don't know if Into the Breach, I haven't done a ton of looking at what Into the Breach exactly is. I know that it is a tactical thing. So I know that comes out tomorrow, so I'll definitely be trying that out. Maybe I'll talk about that on the next one of these. I'm going to try to put one of these out when I have something to talk about, maybe 2 a week, as a supplement to the main cast. And the main cast is going to be, the first episode of that will be going up hopefully this week. We are recording it Wednesday night. It is Video Games Were a Mistake. You can find that at vgwam.com, so vgwam.com. That is a more standard podcast, which will not be recorded in a car, so the sound quality will be infinitely better. And I'll actually have somebody else to talk to, which is kind of fun. Although I do like the looks that I get driving down the road talking to myself. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you'd like to see anything different in the comments. I think I'll post this on YouTube as well. Otherwise, have a great night, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.